Was that our first one? I thought that was.
That was, yeah.
Great, we're going to ask Paul to step forward and sing our praise song for this morning, Absolutely Everything. Welcome, everyone.
Have faith, have joy, have fun. Spirit always gets the job done. I have love, I have hope, I have peace. Spirit gives these things to me. I have all I want, I have all I need. Spirit does provide absolutely everything. I have all I want, I have all I need. Spirit does provide absolutely everything. I have song, I have dance, I have fun. Spirit brings it all on time. I have light, I have truth, I have whole. Spirit fills my heart and soul. I have all I want, I have all I need. Spirit does provide absolutely everything. I have all I want, I have all I need. Spirit does provide absolutely everything. I have sass, I have bounce, I have teeth. I can use them when I need. I have heart, I have brains, I have things. So much so my heart just sings. I have all I want, I have all I need. Spirit does provide absolutely everything. I have all I want, I have all I need. Spirit does provide absolutely everything, absolutely everything, absolutely everything.
Good morning, Unity of Kalamazoo. My name is Maggie Adams. a little shorter today. And it is my pleasure today to introduce our guest speaker, Joseph Drolshagen. Yay! Definitely been here before. Joseph is a powerhouse within the coaching industry and the founder of IFGT Life Coaching, the author of Life Lessons, and the creator of his innovative subconscious mindset training process. After a successful 28-year career up to vice president in sales, multiple certifications and decades of coaching others, Joey specializes in leading people to creating a life of financial freedom, doing what they love. Yes. Joey's clients repeatedly achieve beyond what they have been able to do prior, and to do so within the shortest period of time possible. And with that, I also want to invite you that tonight there is a workshop. It's a virtual workshop at 7 o'clock. You do have to sign up. The link has been on the Facebook page as well as sent out in the Unity Ezine email. If you would like to join that tonight, the name of that workshop is Moving Beyond the Job and Into a Life You Don't Need a Vacation From. Now that sounds pretty awesome. Also, Joy would like to invite you to the lobby afterwards where he will be selling his book on life lessons, and he would be glad to sign a copy for you. So welcome, Joy.
It's Unity. We make it up on the fly sometimes. Our hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever.
Good morning again. So I'm going to read out of the Daily Word for Sunday, August 15th, 2021. It's about joy, not Joey, joy. I say yes to the joy that invites me in this moment. Oh, that's good. Joy is the call of my heart. Whether I'm at work or at play, I bring a spirit of joyfulness to everything I do. More than a mood or an attitude, joy is part of me and mine to live and to share. Like all aspects of my divine identity, joy flowers in my consciousness when I hold joyful thoughts and feelings. I express my joy as the excitement of anticipation, fascination at a new discovery, deep satisfaction in a relationship, and the tranquil glow from communing with God in prayer. My joy is contagious, and I love to share in it. I have feelings of joy when I take part in a friend's or family member's joyous moments, their celebrations and accomplishments. I feel quiet joy when I offer encouragement and even when I give comfort, grateful to share the care and love of God. Rejoice always. 1 Thessalonians 5:16. And we'll do some meditation. If you wouldn't mind, just kind of get yourself comfortable here. And if you want, you can close your eyes and just take a, how's that? Can you hear me? Okay. Just take a couple deep, full, comfortable breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Couple more. In through your nose and out through your mouth. As you're exhaling, just allow your shoulders to relax. Allow everything, all the pressures just to come down. They'll be there when we get done. Just let them go. One more deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Now, I want you to feel a spark. I want you just to identify that feeling of spark in your inner soul, right at the core of your body. And just allow your body to be breathed. And just focus on feeling that spark, feeling it heating from the inside. And feel it start expanding in your chest cavity. Feel it going down your stomach. And just allow it to get brighter and feel the heat, the intensity of it. That core of your authentic soul. Allow it to start going up the back of your neck. See if you can feel it with almost like a tickling of your hair up through the top of your head and out through your arms, to your elbows, your forearms, your hands, into your fingers. And just let it start filling your body cavity, down your legs. As you feel its expansion, feel that it gets so bright and so big and intense that it has to expand outside of your body. Maybe take a deep breath into that exhale to allow it to expand outside of your body. And spread that, feel it filling the room. See if you can get that energy to feel like it's filling this room. And just continue expanding it, continue feeling that bright light from within, just expanding outwardly, bigger than the room even, filling this building. Knowing that's the light you were given to expand and to spread and to receive and to energize. Just want to sit here for a second. And let it keep expanding and cover the city block, the state, and just expanding as far as you can. Okay, and as we come back in, start becoming aware of your surroundings. Maybe move your hands and your feet a little bit. Start bringing you back. And just know that that power, that light that you're meant to shine, that nobody else can shine, it's unique to you, is accessible to you, it's empowering to you, it's rechargeable to you at any time. And if you dozed off, come on back anyways. Hope you had a good nap. Thank you. That was beautiful. Wow. Wow. Oh my God.
Saint Cecilia's by Charles Renaud, and the subtitle is Meditation Religieuse. So it's a meditation.
Oh, that was, I
Yeah.
felt like it was meditative. That was beautiful. Wow, that was magic. I could listen to that all day. In fact, come up here and do it again instead of me. Good morning, everybody. It is such an honor and a privilege. I feel so blessed to get to be here with you guys. I miss you all. Okay, let me just say that they tell me that I get 10,000 steps with every talk I do because I like to move around. So that we will have some of the in and out with the microphone. I'll do my very best to not let that happen. But I'm just so blessed to be here with you guys today. And for the message today, I chose Beyond Your Expectations. Experiencing life beyond your expectations. So let me ask you guys a question. How possible do you think it is? You can raise your hands. How possible do you think it is to actually experience a life beyond your expectations? Yeah, awesome. And I hope some of you guys are living life beyond your expectations. What happens is we all have areas of our life. I want to get into the struggle, but we all have areas of our life where it's exceeded what we even expected, right? As we move into doing those things, on the way up here, so I'm in South Carolina now. I grew up in Detroit, Michigan. I live in South Carolina. On the way up here, we had the first event cancel because of a storm over on the east side, and power was out. My only computer that has the entire presentation for the workshop I did the other night, for the one I'll be doing tonight, virtually for you guys exclusively, my computer went bonkers on me and just died out. And we tried for multiple hours getting it going and couldn't. We ran into traffic delays. We had all these things happen and stuff. And what happens is for so long in my life, I would let those situations and those circumstances determine what was possible for me. You ever experienced life like that? We give power to our situations and circumstances happening around us rather than focusing on giving power to God, giving power to us being breathed without us even having to focus. Anybody have to focus on inhales and exhales on a regular basis? It happens for us. Maybe singing and stuff, yeah. It happens for us, though, for the most part. We don't have to focus on it. And we can take it any time, and we can focus on that power within us to be more powerful than any situations, circumstances, or conditions in our life. Does that make sense, you guys? Awesome. I love this quote by Howard Thurman. Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is more people to come alive. Now I get the honor. You guys know my story. Thank you for the beautiful introduction, by the way. You guys know my story. I spent 28 years in corporate America, up to a vice president of sales, and I specialized in helping companies that were either in or going into bankruptcy to get out that other side back into profitability and everything involved in that. And even saying that, it doesn't sound like a fun job, does it? And it wasn't. I didn't enjoy it. I was really good at what I did. If you gave me a territory and said, go build it, I'd go build it, and I'd do it really well. In fact, I doubled our company's size over a matter of 2.5 years in the one territory I had. We went from $30 million up to $80 million as far as the size of the company before everything went faltered and such. But I was good at what I did, which was even more confusing. The reason I did that with corporate America was because of my conditioning. And what happens to so many of us is we're conditioned to live a certain way. We're conditioned with what's expected of a man or what's expected of a woman or what's expected of a parent. And we get that conditioning based on that. It's not based on our own reality. It's not based on our authentic self. It's based on what we were taught. Growing up, I was taught that a man gets a job and supports a family and hopefully lives long enough to enjoy some life in retirement. A lot of us have had that conditioning, right? I didn't know any better. And so at 22 years old, when I heard Jack Boland speak at Unity of Renaissance, and I don't remember what he said, but it lit this ignition inside of my soul that I knew I wanted to spend my life inspiring and motivating people to live better lives. And I became a student of the works that I do today. That day, I walked out of there and became a student. And multiple times I would take a coaching program and I'd get a certification and I'd get education and I'd do stuff. And I would try and step out. And I'd hit that wall of that conditioning and that fear that stops so many people. And I thought I was doing something wrong, so I'd go back to the starting gate. And sometime later, I'd come out and try it again. I did that year over year. I did that for 28 years, almost 3 decades I did that. And I continued following that conditioning. Now, let me just back up and share something with you. So here's how the process works. Here's how I know the process works. Is we have a conscious mind, right? Our conscious mind is whatever we're focused on, the words we use, the thoughts we entertain. Let me ask you something, the words we use. How many of you would ever speak to another person the way you talk to yourself? And how many of you would ever let another person talk to you the way you talk to yourself? And people chuckle with that, and I get the humor in it and stuff. I'm not perfect, but I also know how damaging it is because whatever we're focused on, our subconscious mind absorbs. It doesn't determine what's right and what's wrong. It doesn't determine what we want and what we don't want. It doesn't differentiate any of that. It just absorbs whatever the conscious mind's focused on. And then it uses the body to take the actions to bring about the experience that we call our life. Does that make sense? So as we walk down this path, as we go through this process here, I got one for you guys. You know the reality of our life, the reality of your life is make-believe. The reality of what you call your life is make-believe. Because the reality of our reality is based on our perceptions. You want some good news with that? If you shift your perceptions, you'll shift the reality of your life. Isn't that cool? We can shift our perceptions and truly experience a different life. We can truly experience living beyond our expectations, rather than so many people that live on scraps of what's available to them. You want to know the bad news? Yeah, I wouldn't want to either. Only you can choose to shift those perceptions. Only you can choose to put in the effort to bring about those receptions. But I'm telling you, man, anybody that does so, oh my Lord, are the changes enormous? Is the realities we experience enormous? Another conditioning that so many people, and I got 3 tools I want to leave you guys with today, but another conditioning that so many people get tied into is they think that when they want something, it's up to them to do it. Right? So you'll see people taking exhaustive efforts. They'll put in massive hours. They'll do all this. One of the things that really bothers me about anybody in the coaching industry who says things like, if you want something in your life, you have to take massive actions into it. I don't know if any of you guys have heard that or not, or that saying before. When I was growing up, it's if you want something, you got to work for it, and you got to work hard. I did a Mythbusters at the beginning of this year for entrepreneurs, a 5-day process, video thing I went through. And one of the biggest myths I busted is entrepreneurs. They say to go into being an entrepreneur, to have your own business, a job that you love doing, things like that, that you have to trade off everything else. Everything else has to go in the back seat while you do that. And that is so wrong. Instead of those massive actions, how many massive actions have ever led to massive results? Any of you guys ever take massive actions and it led to a huge result? Because if you are, you're the exception. Every once in a while, it may happen for somebody that way. I call it dumb luck, really, because it just kind of falls into place. Typically, when I work with people, myself, my own life, when I'm speaking like this, is when we start taking inspired actions. When we slow down, we quit all the massive efforts and all that stuff, and we take inspired actions. That's how, we all know people, right, who put in this much effort and they achieve these massive results into the life that they crave. That's how they do that, is we take inspired actions. We just lean into it. But can you see where you can't take inspired actions or even identify them while you're working exhaustive hours, putting in excessive effort, like all that stuff? They can't coexist together. You know, our intuition, every one of our intuitions works absolutely perfect. But it's only as loud as our willingness to hear it. So when we did that meditation there, when we get in that quiet place, all of a sudden, you know, okay, so I call God blue. I refer to God, my God as blue. And I don't do that because it's my favorite color, although it is. My branding's blue and all that. I do that because all the conversations I have with people, I'm always trying to dig deeper. And how did that happen? How did that happen? And somewhere along that route, every single time, they'll get to a point and I go, well, how'd that happen? They go, I don't know, it came out of the blue. Have you experienced that? Have you experienced out of the blue moments? That's what that is. That tells you right there that your intuition works perfect. You know, what happens is when we slow down, all of a sudden you overhear something somebody says in a coffee shop or something that's an answer to what you're looking for. When we get into that inspired place, you know, for 2020, honestly, it was a difficult year for me. Prior to 2020, when I saw you guys last, I was traveling 45 to 48 weeks out of the year. I was getting to speak like this. I was getting to do workshops. I was getting to meet people, and everything was going great. I had replaced my income from my VP of sales position in corporate America. Everything was going great. And when COVID hit, everything stopped. I had about 15 events cancel within 2-day period, and everything locked down. Now, because I love being present in front of people, I never really worried about an online presence. I kind of ignored that. I'd much rather be in front of people than I would to build this huge following of people I never get to talk to face. So I didn't have workshops. I didn't have people showing up. I didn't have those things happening for a long time last year. And I got into that spinning mode of what I was talking about. I got into working 10, 12 hours a day. I was creating and developing and doing all this stuff and everything, and nothing was coming from it. I got to a point, you guys, last year of saying, maybe I messed up. Maybe I made a mistake. Maybe this isn't the path I'm supposed to be on. I was good at the corporate America stuff, and I didn't take an action, but I started looking at that process and going, maybe I was supposed to be there. Maybe that's why I was good at that. Maybe that's why things worked out. But what I found when I was doing that is, I was making 6-figure income. I had a company car. I had a golf course membership until we went into bankruptcy. Then they, canceled that. But, I had all those things, that prestige and money and everything else. Excuse me. I wasn't happy. I got to the point of saying, I'm sick and tired of trading my precious time of my life that I never get to repeat for money. And through a series of events that happened, that's what ended up leading me into. And once I understood the SMT, the subconscious mindset training process, within 6 months, I had another coaching certification. I had 3 clients, and I resigned from corporate America, moved to the mountains in South Carolina by trout streams and waterfalls, where I always wanted to live, and started moving forward. But that moment in COVID there, when it built all up to that, and I was like, man, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe I shouldn't. And I just took a couple days and stopped the activity. Within 3 days, 4 people called me out of the blue. Honestly, God, 3 of them talked about the impact I had on their life, and it was just really heavy on their heart, and they wanted to share that with me and how much their life has changed and how awesome they're doing and all of this and everything else. The 4th person that called me was somebody's spouse to tell me the impact I had on their life and their family's life based on working with the person I worked with. When I slowed down, that's the key to that. When I slowed down, those could come in. Now, can you see where if I'm going 150 miles an hour and I'm spinning, trying to make all this stuff happen, I'm not even going to, like somebody's going to call like that and I'm just going to kick it to voicemail and maybe listen to it somewhere down the line. At a faster pace, I don't take time for stuff like that. But going at that pace like that, getting into a flow in my life allows me to hear those messages and those things that show up. And it's the same for every single one of us. Every client I have a client who came to me and they told me, they said, when I first met them, they said, hey, I'm in the 5 a.m. club. Anybody in here in the 5 a.m. club? Okay, because if so, I wouldn't talk as direct about it as I did. I go, really? And he goes, yeah. I get up at 5 a.m. every morning, and I hit the gym, and I do this, and I do that. And you know what? I accomplish more by 9 a.m. than most people accomplish their whole day. And I go, wow. I get up at 7:30. I accomplish everything I need to accomplish every single day. You see the difference in that living? Now, I'll tell you this. When he came to me, he had 2 full-time jobs, and he had a business he was trying to build, and he was trying to steal time to put into his business, so he wasn't really doing anything. Within a month of shifting that around, of getting to that place of quietness, of getting to that place of peace, of getting to that place of flow in his life, he was able to he adjusted the jobs, ended up getting 50% of his time into his company, and then shared the other 52% of the time in those. In the second month, less than 2 months, his income from his business grew beyond what both of the jobs were giving him. Now today, he kept one of the jobs because he likes the people and the team and things like that. He works his hours, select hours there, and he gets to live in his business. When we make those shifts, when we go inside, first off, when we get to that place, that's the first step. When we slow down, for me in my life, that's the single most powerful step I've taken in my life that has changed so much of it into getting to say, I love my life. Is slowing down, getting out of that rat race, getting out of that off that hamster wheel and off that race track of running through life. When I slow down, all of a sudden ideas, inspiration. I spoke at the Unity Temple when I spoke on abundance there. It's happening all the time. Ideas, opportunities for the life that we crave, the life we desire to live are showing up all the time. But if we're flying through life, we don't see those. When we slow down, all of a sudden they start becoming apparent. The reason for that is because our intuition, those things happening within us that bring about the life we want, and it is all in us, is only as loud as our willingness to hear it. So we have to slow down to do that. The second thing is when I talked about that with the conditioning, the patterns, the paradigms, which are just habits of belief in our life. When we slow down or when we start looking at those, we have to shift those things. For over a decade, when The Secret came out, you guys remember that? Man, I bought the VHS because I'm that old. I bought the book, and there was some workbook I had for a while too, and I thought, this is it. This is it. And man, I was the most positive son of a gun you'd ever meet in your life. As far as my thinking, as far as the way I looked, I smiled, no matter what it was. And I took that to the extent, and nothing changed in my life other than I wasn't living authentic. I ended up finding through that process, I can't happy think my way into the life I want. I can't happy think my way, into the things that I desire to experience in my life. It's part of it. Mindset is a big, big part of it. But in itself, it's just really inauthentic living. When I act happy, I remember there are times when something would happen, in life, and I would just be smiling. I go, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And, somebody would call me out, and they go, how can you not, it's not okay. what happened, that situation, whatever it is, losing a dad or whatever it is, that's not okay. Well, there's good that come out of everything and stuff. And I would go around one of those. You ever meet those people, one of those people? That everything is okay, and they're kind of, they don't show that feeling of where they're truly at, and you can tell. That's how I used to be, trying to apply the secret, and it never worked. And then I read a book by Joseph Murphy. It was all about the subconscious mind, the power of the unconscious mind, I think it was, subconscious mind. And in that he talked, it was the first time I had heard about that conditioning. We can think happy all we want, but if our conditioning, for me, it used to be growing up in a low-income, blue-collar family, it was finances, right? I watched my mom and dad struggle my whole life. And I heard things like, money doesn't grow on trees. Anybody ever hear that? Yeah. What do you think we are, the Rockefellers? Hearing those messages, no matter what happened, I was making six-figure income, and I had no money to show for it. And I couldn't figure out why I was struggling financially. But it was that conditioning that we get into. It was that conditioning that we live in lack, that I live in lack, that money is hard, that money's only for certain people, that money doesn't grow on trees and everything else. Through that conditioning shift, through that paradigm shift that I ended up going through, my money story is that there is so much financial abundance available that every living, breathing person in this world could have more than they could ever use, and there would still be an unlimited supply. That money literally grows on trees because it's paper. I get to experience more of that today. When I stepped away from corporate America, my business wasn't at the level of what I was making salary-wise, but man, I was happy. And that happiness and that belief of what was to come, and shifting those conditionings into believing that it's possible for me, believing financial wealth, believing abundance, believing happiness. You know what, you guys? I shouldn't be here right now. If you look at my past and you look at how I grew up, and you look at my family of origin and what I was taught growing up. And when I was growing up, I had multiple teachers, and my mom continually tell me, some people are meant to work with their head, and some people are meant to work with their hands. And you're going to work with your hands. And I don't begrudge that, because my dad raised 5 children in a family, and we did all kinds of stuff, and he worked in blue collar, so I don't have anything negative about that. But for me, that messaging, I should have never went up to corporate America, up to a vice president of sales. I should have never been able to assist organizations on turning around from a bankruptcy situation. I shouldn't have had those skills. I shouldn't have the skills to be sitting here talking with you guys. When I was in high school, if you had to read how you used to have to write the essays and how you had to write the essays and then read them in front of the class? Remember those days? I would take an E. I would write it, but I would take an E. I was so petrified to stand up in front of people and talk. Today, I love microphones. I love faces. I love getting to talk to people and share what I believe God has put on my heart to share. But if you look at that conditioning, I should not be here with you today. But I am. You know why I am? A bumblebee. If you look at physics, pure physics, a bumblebee should not be able to fly. I was just listening to Joel Osteen about that. He was talking about it. The body is too big for the wingspan. Now just think if somebody could have conditioned butterflies not to fly, the difference that we'd see. But they couldn't convince it that it couldn't fly. People, without trying to cause harm, doing it out of love, have conditioned us on how we're supposed to live. And we can let them off the hook because they didn't do it to harm us. They did it trying to help us, trying to serve us. Right? Because they didn't want to see us upset. They didn't want to see disappointments. They didn't want to see us fail. They didn't want to see stuff like that. So they've conditioned us. And I'll tell you what, you guys, I've worked with clients. I've worked with a client who was 87 years old who came up to me after a workshop with tears in her eyes. And she said, Joseph, before I met you, I thought I was too old to dream. So whatever age it is, whether it's a young adult all the way up to somebody who's retired, living their golden years and things like that, this information, you can apply this information and start uplifting, to start living more. I was sitting in the room the other day before we started today, and I got to read your vision statement. We celebrate a world of ever-awakening consciousness. Wow. Abundance, peace, and love for all. I don't want you to nod. I don't want you to raise your hand. I just want you to absorb what I'm going to ask you. Are you having the mark on this world that you came here to have? The reason I love and am so passionate about what I do, and you guys all know this too because you taught it to me through Unity, is I know that each time somebody goes within and they tap into those unique gifts and talents within them, oh my God, such a great example. That was so beautiful. And we bring those outwardly. We make a change in the entire world. Hearing her perform this morning, did that change a moment for you in your life? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. The third step I have, so the first step was slowing down. The second step is taking uncommon actions. You know, uncommon actions means we have to do things differently, right? You can't keep doing the same common things over and over and over and over and expect different results. What's Einstein call that? Insanity. And even knowing that, though, and you can do this at any time, and it's not a judgment thing. There's no good or bad. You know, if you look at my book back there, the whole thing of life lessons is all about, you know, life happens for us and not to us. And you take the judgment out of what's going on and start asking, why is this happening? All of a sudden, you start getting life lessons. You start shifting that perception of how you see things, and then you start experiencing things differently. So taking uncommon actions, we all know that. We all know, you know, about insanity and all that. But how many patterns and paradigms and conditioning do we repeat over and over and over? Because I know that some people live for 90 years. Other people live 1 year 90 times, and they just continue to repeat those same patterns year after year after year. Those 1 year folks never move toward realization. Taking an uncommon action, taking something, a different action, and you can just be aware of that, and it can be something small. I had a client one time who said, I don't have any conditioning or patterns or paradigms holding me back. I don't see them. And I go, okay, when you shower tomorrow, I want you to lather your hair 15 times, and that's it. Count to 15 and stop. He called me back the next day and cussed me out. But think about that. Would you have considered that you have a pattern on how you shampoo your hair? Next time you shampoo your hair, look at that and see, and then start looking at other areas. Start looking at how you drive to work, or start looking at how you do things and stuff like that. And what's a different way you can do it that would be more exciting to you and bring about more vibrancy and life and excitement into your everyday? And then the third one is the awareness of your perceptions. The awareness of it. Just to be aware, how am I thinking about this? What am I thinking about this? And if you play with that, and that's what all this stuff is experimenting and playing. When I started playing in that, when I have clients that start playing and noticing what they're noticing. You know, so many times I'll talk to somebody, I go, hey, did you notice this or did you notice that? And I'll point out, and they'll go, yeah. Almost like they're going to beat them, like they're disappointed in themselves. And I go, you know what? Celebrate that. Because noticing it is the first step of awareness, which allows you to bring about something different in your life. Does that make sense? So that's what the third one is just to notice, be aware of your perceptions. Be aware of looking at something, because you'll identify. You don't even have to go into all of the processing. And if anybody wants to, if this resonates and makes sense to you, and you want to talk about something, you got a question, you can see me afterwards, but you can also go to coachwithjoey.com and schedule a 10-minute conversation, no cost, and we'll get on the phone and talk about what that particular thing is and get you some tools to start continuing that shift. Ultimately, experiencing, living your life beyond your expectations. Thank you.
the holder, right? With the hoop earrings. Thank you so much, Joy. Oh my gosh, you just, I spoke right to my heart. I mean, I am such a dreamer, and I kept thinking of the song. You may think that I'm around, whatever, But yes, definitely like to focus on that power within me, and let's all experience life beyond our expectations. So at this time, we are going to bless the offertory, the love offering. Sorry. As you know, you can take your love offering off. Will join me in saying the offertory blessing, and you can give your wow, I'm so caught up in dreaming still. The ushers will collect your love offering as you exit today. Thank you. Please join me in the offertory blessing. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
One, two, bang. I had a second one, but I don't know if, should we do it? Okay. All right. All right. 1, 2, 3.
guess it's over to me. We'll close out the service here. First of all, thank you, Gretchen. She's
you.
been such a pleasure to have her here.
Thank you.
We are getting her more and more, and it's a pleasure just to have her in the service every time we can. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll close out with prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us as the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Yea, God. Please stand.
One, two, ready. Got a little lost there.